Von Zander's eyes abandoned their preoccupation with the pipe bowl and came around to me. They registered a mixture of surprise and chagrin, and this pleased me somehow. So? Mm-hmm. He brushed some tobacco crumbs from his lap, and the large rhinestone links at his cuffs glittered in the glow of the desk lamp. Well, he intoned, his cow's eyes bland and opaque again. It had to happen sometime, I suppose. How did you find out? I looked into those eyes, which had been so quick to return to their normal impassiveness, and wondered briefly about Von Zander and who he really was and where he had come from, and, in a heat-lightning flicker of private rebuke, how I had drifted through the years into a condition that could place me so thoroughly under his domination. In my tiny moment of self-censure, I recognized how altogether tired I was of Von Zander and the uncountable ranks of other Von Zanders who ruled my life and would probably preside at my death. Was every man, I asked myself in that blink of time, so abjectly tired of bosses and direction from beyond and above, always above? Coogan, I said. He has ordered me to find the leak and plug it. Von Zander placed the pipe stem in a corner of his mouth and, holding a wildly flaring match to the bowl, puffed up a layer of cumulus. That's one break, at least, he said between his teeth. What do you propose to do? I shrugged. Well, as you say, it's lucky he's put me on it. This leaves me pretty much in control of the situation. Up to a point, that is. But just what I can do to protect our interests is hard to say right now. It seems pretty clear to me what you have to do, Von Zander said in his Wurlitzer baritone. You'll have to set up a patsy, somebody you can point the finger at, some klutz who'll take the rap and leave us in the clear. Well, hell, I said, feeling a stir of annoyance. That goes without saying. I meant I don't know just how I'll do it yet. Von Zander examined his pipe and tamped the coals with a tentative forefinger. What's the CIC organization table look like these days? It hasn't changed too much since we began our little game. I could easily guess what he was driving at, since he knew very well how the U.S. Army Counterintelligence Corps was organized. But I asked the question he was waiting for. Why? Who's vulnerable, he murmured. As a patsy, I mean. I thought about that for a time, and his little pipe-sucking sounds were tacit permission for me to do so. Everybody, I said eventually, has something in his life he'd hate to see in the New York Daily News, but we're dealing with some 40 people who've long since been checked, rechecked, and checked again. From the flag-waving viewpoint, they're all solid citizens. From our viewpoint, there are no skeletonized closets, at least as far as I've been able to determine up to now. Von Zander's large mouth curled in a sardonic cat's smile. Then, he purred, you'll just have to skeletonize some unsuspecting closet, eh? I crossed my legs, a business to hide the angry, involuntary clenching of my fists. Odd how even the most indirect reminder of the Lois Burns thing could get at me that way. Oh, come on, Von Zander. I already tried that. I even used myself as bait. He looked at me in his Prussian way. You mean your attempt to exploit the Burns woman? What else would I mean? I struggled to keep my voice in neutral gear. Pah, you were too subtle on that one. So subtle the opposition didn't get a reading on it. How could they squeeze you for something they didn't even know about? It isn't all that simple, friend. A little weird and self-assertive in some ways, maybe, but she's basically a good woman and, in her oddball style, loyal to her husband. I hesitated, then admitted lamely, I tried to use her to set myself up, but it didn't come off, that's all. Von Zander held up an umpire's hand. All right, but you'll have to pick out somebody and, in a very direct manner, nail him to the wall. It's as simple as that. We've got too much riding on this mission. I lifted a cigarette from the pack in my shirt pocket and lit it, using the time to visualize CIC's T.O. It won't be easy, I said. At the top we've got the chief, his secretary, an exec officer, an adjutant, an administrative officer, and a chief clerk. Every one of them as American as George M. Cohan. In the headquarters detachment there are the deputy commander, an admin man, a personnel officer, and another clerk. Then there's Coogan as S3, and me as his executive officer, and Coogan's secretary, and, under the S3, a dozen operations men, all case officers running tight little networks of agents and informants, and all dedicated to smoking out and arresting anything that smells commie, even dogs.